are you?
Very well.
What do you have to say?
If you don't mind, I'll take your
question.
question.
Starting up, what are your priorities?
Thank you very much. Nous avons bien hâte d'entamer la session parlementaire ce printemps, cet hiver, ce printemps. Nous allons bien sûr débuter avec un ensemble de projets de loi de nature économique, commençant avec la mise à jour économique de l'automne. The FES, Fall Economic Statement legislation, contains several measures that will make life more affordable for Canadians, that will make housing more accessible for Canadians, that will accelerate all kinds of initiatives that make life better for Canadians in their everyday life. Ce que nous allons aussi faire, c'est demander aux conservateurs pas d'obstruction sans alternative. Donc, vous allez voir un contraste un peu plus pointu entre nous et ce que nous proposons et ce que les conservateurs font pour obstruire le progrès, pour monter une obstruction quotidienne à nos initiatives, que ce soit en logement, en abordabilité ou des choses pour rendre la vie plus simple pour les Canadiennes et les Canadiens. So we're very confident and looking forward to this. You know, Mr. Poilievre has a choice to make. He's going to have to offer Canadians alternatives, not just obstruction, and we're going to be calling him out on that every day. Good example is Ukraine, you know, where the only people that aren't ridiculing his position on that are in the Conservative caucus. We'll be debating the Ukraine legislation in the coming days. So economics are the order of the day, making life easier for Canadians and making housing more accessible.
You said in French that you plan to be more pointed in drawing a contrast between Pierre Poilievre and the government. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Well, the absence of any kind of fiscal plan by Mr. Poilievre is something that I think we'll certainly be drawing attention to. For example, he talks about so-called inflationary spending. Well, what is inflationary spending? Is it the Canada Child Benefit? Is it the child care program that is bringing costs down today? Is it dental care? What are the things that Mr. Poilievre would do to cut? Would he ravage the public service of Canada and the programs that people have come to count on? Mr. Poilievre is going to have some questions to answer.
But you haven't actually
him into an election platform? Like you want him to release what an election platform for the Conservatives would look like?
What a responsible opposition must do is obviously oppose. We understand that. We fully accept that. We're quite prepared for that, happy to deal with it. But they must also propose solutions for Canadians, and I think Canadians are increasingly looking to Mr. Poilievre to stop with his daily hectoring that borders on the ridiculous and come with some concrete proposals that would actually make a difference for Canadians in their daily lives.
Rising in the polls, it seems to be working for him, so are Canadians actually getting sick of it?
Canadians are absolutely telling me that they have no idea what Mr. Poilievre, that they're scared. I have constituents that come up to me every day and say, you have to stop this. We don't like this creeping right-wing extremism that we're seeing coming in from the United States. We don't like this kind of populist, angry conservatism. What we're looking for are proposals. What I want to hear as a citizen is something that's going to make my life better.
But just to clarify, in your opening statements, you didn't actually really put anything new on the table from your government. You talked about the fall economic statement.
Yeah, we have a bill to pass. Let me give you some other examples. Replacement workers. We'll be debating that during this session. We will be debating the Ukraine legislation, as I said. We will be debating the child care bill. These are significant accomplishments for Canadians, but they have to get through the Parliament of Canada. Every time we bring them up, as you know, because you cover it, all they do is obstruct.
But
points
is the
of
winter
privilege.
session about cleanup
We
on
talk
your
about
agenda,
child
or
care,
is it
they
about
talk
new
about some
things?
fake points of privilege. These are the things that I think Canadians are getting increasingly
But I
frustrated
just want to understand what your agenda is. Is the point of the purpose of the winter sitting to focus on sort of cleaning up your agenda, getting what's already on the decks passed, or is it about new things?
There are a number of other initiatives that will be coming forward. You know, I'm not going to reveal.
Give us a tease?
I'm not going to reveal all of the bills that we'll be presenting, but the government has a significant pipeline of legislation. And we're open for. By the way, we're wide open for business with any opposition party which wants to collaborate to get results for Canadians.
Est-ce que vous allez avoir des nouveaux projets de loi en lien avec le logement cette session?
Bien évidemment, on a des mesures concrètes qui sont contenues dans, j'insiste là, la mise à jour économique, c'est un vaste projet de loi, un ensemble d'initiatives qui vont améliorer la vie. Puis ce qu'on doit faire dans un contexte parlementaire, c'est faire en sorte que ce projet de loi soit adopté. Donc, une chose à la fois. Et bien sûr, nous allons nous concentrer sur l'abordabilité et le logement
Est-ce qu'il peut y avoir des
au
nouvelles
cours de la
mesures
session.
autres que ce qui a
Bien
été
sûr,
mis?
Mme Freeland va présenter un budget, mais vous pouvez être rassurés que nous allons continuer d'avoir comme un laser un focus sur l'économie, sur l'abordabilité et sur le logement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a few questions as campaign co-chair? I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on the Conservatives attracting two high-profile candidates this week. Is that just further proof that they have the momentum and your party doesn't?
No, I don't think so. I think they have to answer to other questions like, why are they not, saying that having somebody in Alberta that is a right-wing American-style politics in Canada? I think they have to answer to that before
But they're
talking to
not
us
doing
about
that. That's the
candidates.
Premier of Alberta doing
Yes, I know that. But what did Poilievre say about that? Did he say
Okay.
anything about that?
And so what is the government's strategy as it tries to claw back its way from the position it's in right now?
I think we have to remain focused on what Canadians need, and that's what this government is doing. And we have time in front of us to make that connection with Canadians and let them know that we're there for them.
And can you clarify sort of what sort of the mechanics of the campaign preparation are? Like how far into nominations are you?
It's going really well. Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you.
Mr. Holland, are you talking to the NDP about getting some trucks on the formulary before pharmacare passes?
We're having conversations with the NDP about all aspects of pharmacare. Those are ongoing conversations, but they're still ongoing.
But specifically, coming out of the caucus meeting, there are some senior NDP folks saying that the government's agreed to cover a handful of drugs before pharmacare passes. Is that the case?
Look, I think that I understand their temptation to take different elements that they think might be being talked about or to speculate. I've been very consistent to not speculate because there is back and forth, things change. Something might be possible, then something might not be possible. So I'm very deliberative to not go out publicly and talk about where things are at particular stages of negotiation, because I think that would be very confusing to the public. Certainly once the negotiations are concluded, I'd be happy to share all of the machinations that we went through in various iterations, but I think it would be unproductive at this point to speculate.
But they are saying you've agreed to. They are saying you've agreed to with these, unnamed NDP
Well,
sources. So have you?
I mean, unnamed NDP sources say a lot of things, and I don't think at this point we've agreed to nothing. If we agreed to something, then we would be publicly announcing a deal. So there's a lot of conversation. There's a lot of unnamed NDP sources who want things. There's a lot of unnamed Liberal sources who want things. But there's only what the two parties actually agree upon, and that's still in discussion, and nothing has been confirmed at this point. Okay, thanks so much.
Hi, how's it going?
I'm good, how are you?
What's your
Good,
reaction?
good. What's your reaction to the
I have
ICJ
not read the
ruling?
full ruling. I'll go through, it's just off like what I have heard in some of the tweets in the social media, but I think I can comment once I go through the whole thing. But I think Canada believes in international law, and whatever the decision of the ICJ is, we should accept that.
But
How
can I just
would you
clarify?
expect Canada to say, tell Israel you need to provide humanitarian aid? What is Canada's role in this?
I think Canada can, Canada is known as a peacemaker, and they can bring the international allies together to make sure that it's a humanitarian crisis what is happening in
What do you
Gaza.
make of the fact, though, that the federal government has not actually said what its position is? Other than saying they support the court, they're not actually staking a position. Do you have a position?
I think we should, whatever ICJ says, we should accept that.
So you don't have
Okay.
a view on whether
We
there
should
is
accept-
a case of genocide?
We should accept whatever ICJ. It's like we are a country which believes in international law, and whatever ICJ has ruled on. I think it would be better
Right.
once I go through the
But
whole
the
thing.
actual decision will take years, though, right?
Because-
You were talking about how you have just been to the West Bank, and you said Palestinians are dehumanized there. So
Yes.
are you satisfied that it will take years to rule on something? Well,
But I think they have said that Canada, Israel should provide them in a month the details of what they are doing. So I think it would be better, let me go through that exact all thing, and then we can have a discussion on that.
Which is one thing, because they haven't said whether or not, they haven't commented on the actual genocide, you know, they haven't ruled on that. So are you disappointed by that? Do you think they should, the court should have said it is a genocide?
Let me have a look, like, I really cannot comment until I go through the whole thing. Okay.
Are you just?
Mais oui,
no,
ok,
the
bon,
government-
je réponds.
I'm just wondering, like, the government
Non,
has
je vais
not,
retourner. Ok.
the government has not said its own position on this. Are you disappointed by that?
So I'll just give one short statement in English and then French, okay? It's what's important is to recognize what the court's decision was today. Today, the court did not take a position on whether or not Israel is committing genocide. My position has been that Israel is not committing genocide, that it's baseless and it's insulting, and I don't think the case was helpful to bring. Today's judgment is simply whether or not the case is justiciable, meaning whether or not there's a valid dispute under the Genocide Convention between South Africa and Israel, which I think everybody recognizes that there is, and whether or not if you go to a very low bar, if South Africa's charges were proven true, there would be a violation of the Genocide Convention. So I don't want to overblow what this decision is today. Donc, je vais juste répéter ça en français. Donc, c'est très important de reconnaître que ma position, c'est qu'Israël ne fait pas un génocide. Ça, c'est pas du tout le sujet du qu'est-ce que la Cour a penché aujourd'hui. Tout ce que la Cour a penché aujourd'hui, c'est est-ce que la cause est justiciable, c'est-à-dire y a-t-il vraiment un argument entre Israël et l'Afrique du Sud sur les questions de l'interprétation de la Convention de génocide. Et deuxièmement, si vous avez un preuve très bas, est-ce que si les allégations sont vraies, il y a une violation? Donc pour moi, c'est pas important.
Non, attendez, mais c'est sûr, juste parce que la Cour ordonne quand même à Israël de prévenir et punir l'incitation au génocide.
Je crois que la position d'Israël, c'est qu'Israël a toujours fait ça. Et Israël respecte le droit international et Israël va continuer de le respecter.
Can you just clarify though, because, like, what do you make of the fact that your government has refused to stake out a position?
Again, I can only say my position is clear.
Not even say what it
I can only say my position has been clear. Israel is not committing genocide. Je vais retourner, je promets, je suis déjà en retard.
to the ICJ ruling.
I haven't read it all yet, but we're a country of the rule of law, and we'll consider the ruling, and I think every country should.
And Julianne calling.
Canada stop providing weapons to Israel?
I'm not going to comment on that. I think if you research what we have been providing, there have been no lethal weapons provided to Israel.
And
Canada call on Israel to abide by the decision?